Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make high altitude banana bread or banana bread muffins. A lot of people love banana breads, and today I'm making a high altitude recipe for any of you who are baking at a high altitude. If you haven't seen any of my other high altitude videos, baking at a high altitude or 2,000 feet or more above sea level is not easy because air pressure is lower, gases expand more, and liquid evaporates faster. So you need to make changes to the recipe, otherwise you'll end up with a product that overexpands or rises too much. And if it rises too much, it can possibly sink in the middle. And it can come out very dense, too moist, too dry, or gummy. So changes to the recipe are required so that doesn't happen, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. I've already showed how to do a high altitude chocolate cake, brownies, and chocolate chip cookies, and I'll link to those videos in the description box if you haven't seen them yet. Let's get started. First, you need to preheat the oven. Usually you would bake it at 350 degrees, but for a high altitude, turn it up to 365 or 375 degrees. Baking it at a higher temperature makes it bake and set faster before it overexpands. If you plan on doing regular banana bread in a loaf pan, preheat the oven to 365 degrees because you don't want the oven temperature too high or it's going to overcook on the outside and still be raw in the middle. Lightly grease a muffin pan if you plan on doing muffins, or grease a 9x5 inch loaf pan if you plan on doing a loaf. Then into a medium bowl, add in the flour. Add an extra tablespoon if baking somewhere around 3,500 feet above sea level. And add another tablespoon for every additional 1,500 feet. This adds extra protein, which helps strengthen the structure of the product. Add in the baking powder. You'll need a different amount depending on the elevation of where you're baking at, and here are the measurements for that. Add in the salt. Then measure out the sugar. And you need to remove 1 tablespoon for every cup of sugar, so for this recipe, just remove 1 tablespoon. We do this because increased evaporation also increases sugar concentration, which can weaken the product. Add it to the bowl. Whisk to combine. And set it aside for now. Then in a larger bowl, add in the very overripe bananas. Make sure you're using bananas that are super overripe, ones that are very brown all over or completely black and are soft, mushy, and liquidy are best because they give the best banana flavor and moisture that you never get from using perfectly ripe bananas. Even if they smell sour, you can still use them. I know it seems bad and unpleasant, but this is key to the best banana bread. They can never be too overripe for banana breads. They only can't be used if they're moldy on the inside. Mash up the bananas with a whisk. And for the butter, I'm adding a little extra. I'll explain why later. Melt the butter in a saucepan or in a microwave. Add it into the bowl. Whisk them together. And if the mixture is quite hot, let it cool down. Then add in the eggs. If you haven't seen any of my other high altitude videos, you need to add extra liquid so it doesn't come out dry from the high altitudes and the higher oven temperature. So you can add extra butter or eggs. In this case, I added extra butter, but you can add extra eggs if you like, and that would be best because eggs don't evaporate as easily as other liquids do. If you're baking around 3,000 feet, add in an extra 1 to 2 tablespoons of liquid, and add an extra half a tablespoon for every additional 1,000 feet. Add in the vanilla extract. and whisk them until well combined. Add in the dry ingredients and chocolate chips if you like, and mix them gently just until combined and there's no more dry flour. Try not to overmix the batter. Pour the batter into the prepared loaf pan or divide it evenly into each muffin cup. And bake it in the oven until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. The muffins will take about 15 to 20 minutes, and the loaf will take about 45 to 55 minutes. If you're baking it as a loaf, check on it after 30 minutes. If it's getting too dark on the top, cover the top in aluminum foil and reduce the oven temperature to 350 degrees. Once it gets brown on top, it's not going to rise anymore, so it's not going to overexpand after that. So that's when you can lower the oven temperature to give it time to cook all the way through. When it's done, remove it from the oven and let it cool in the pan for 5 to 10 minutes. Then transfer it to a cooling rack so it doesn't get soggy on the bottom and let it cool a little longer. And you can serve it still warm or at room temperature. And that's how to make a high altitude banana bread. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give this video a like and check out my channel for many more videos and subscribe to my channel for more to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.